Hi, it's Michelle from Movement Lesson. When you're bringing your baby home, you think that it's going to be, checking the car seat, checking the oxygen levels, and, you have your observations for 24 to 48 hours and you go home. Lots of times, though, children go into trauma of some sort and end up in the NICU. It's in neonatal intensive care units. Babies are brought into this setting, if they are at risk for life-threatening issues. Normally it's due to prematurity, but that's not always the case. There's many different reasons why your child might end up in the NICU. Some things to take into consideration. First of all, you just gave birth, right? When you just gave birth, your hormones are off, you're exhausted, even if you're, same thing with your spouse. It's not like, or your partner, that's not like they've had sleep. And now you're getting thrust into this setting. The first thing you really need to understand is that many of us don't know medical English. I've actually been in situations, like my son had RSV 3 weeks after birth, and we ended up, not in the NICU, but pretty darn close. But my roommate was Hispanic, and they came in and said, "Do you know English?" And she said, "Yes, see." There's a big difference, no offense, to ordering a cup of coffee and understanding the severity of meningitis, right? When they're talking about spinal taps and oxygen and your primary care. And again, it's a different type of language. It's a language that most people have not experienced, even, at collegiate levels, unless, again, you're going into a medical-based practice. And so understanding your rights that way is your first thing. Most hospitals are bilingual, meaning that they actually have support, and I think like 120 languages. So if the English is not your native language, even though you feel that you're fluent and you're structured in it, it is a different type of English. And even if English is your primary or American is your primary language, again, it doesn't mean you understand it, especially if you're a young parent or, again, just physically and mentally exhausted and you just feel like your head's in a blender. These are all valid feelings. However, it is valid that you get the support that you need and deserve and know about. So these are some of the things to start looking at. Second of all, you are in a NICU. You might be told, fine. Everything's going to plan. You're entitled to having professionals come in, ophthalmologists, gastroenterologists. And again, not knowing medical-based, you might not have never broken a toe before. And now you're dealing with oncology and all of this kind of thing. You're allowed to have baselines. You're there for a reason. Don't think twice, too, even if you have a primary. If you're not getting the answers that you need or you're not happy with the services, don't think twice about asking for a second opinion. These are your rights. These are your child's rights. Again, your world can be a blur. I do have a quick checklist on NICU to home that you can go over and get those things. And then there's also a free mini course, because again, the premise for what I represent, not only in Movement Lesson, but me as a mother, I didn't have this kind of help when I was going through it. My son had Haemophilus influenza and staph for 3 years. So many surgeries, 47 days in the hospital. We weren't in the NICU setting, but when you're getting into, again, once you've been discharged and come back, then it's PICU, Pediatric Intensive Care Unit. NICU is only when you're in birth sessions. Another thing that can be happening too is if you gave birth, your hospital is not set up properly, or they don't feel they can give that level of care. So sometimes mom is in one hospital and now the baby's being flown out to another hospital. It's for your child's care. Please, I know you want to be with your partner and so forth. That person has to be with the child. You want as much hands-on as you can, not only to understand what's about to happen to your child medically, but also to make sure you've just got eyes on your child. I know not all of you can just drop and stop your jobs and being in long-term NICU environments or PICU environments, but it's something to consider that even if you can't do it, that a grandmother or somebody can get into that setting, or there's a turn taking that goes on, that really someone's with the child almost on a 24-hour basis. I've seen a lot in hospitals. They're doing their best, but they're short-staffed, and they can't be everywhere at once. And to be, hands-on but eyes-on is another important factor. Not many people have gone through a NICU setting. Facebook is great for those kind of things, but again, it's not that you have time to even jump onto social media, but you need that support basis as much as you can. If you have faith, bring in somebody there to meet with you and just to ground you. Again, that best friend, that lifeline, throw it out there. This is a time that you need it. What I like to tell people when I'm going through that, I go, this is what I know, this is what I don't know. But most importantly, this is where I need help, this is where I don't need help, right? It could be very exhausting when 5 different people are calling you up asking the same question when you don't know the answer to help the first person. You might want to tell that first person, hey, can you reach out to these 5 people or so forth? Tell them this is where we're at, this is what we know. Start a private group on Facebook so you can post out. I mean, again, the luxuries now of social media and WhatsApp and Facebook and all that you can reach out to privately or publicly and put it out there. Second is, you want to make sure your finances are in line. Don't think twice about going to your social worker. You might think you have primary insurance and that's it, but let me tell you, in a NICU setting, you can eat up your deductibles in 3 seconds flat. And, not everybody has that $20,000 for deductible. In some cases, you can get secondary insurance, social insurance, and what's known here as access. But again, each state or country is different. Don't think twice about reaching out because, again, you might not see a medical bill for a week or two, but a NICU setting environment can be hundreds of thousands of dollars versus what you're thinking, 5,000 to 10,000, what you might be used to in a typical hospital bed. The support is there, but they don't offer it. It's not a menu. What would you like to take care of, right? You need to start getting educated real fast. But again, you're going to be very tired. You're going to be very exhausted. And you're going to have questions that maybe won't be answered for a long, long time. And it is what it is, but at the same time, please know that there are resources out there to help you. If it's not for me, there's plenty of other places that you can go, but getting from your NICU into a home setting might require nursing. It might require you getting a little bit of medical education because you're now dealing with suctioning or trachs or all sorts of things. I have PICC lines I've gone home with. It was real fun when my son pulled his out because he had a reaction. But again, I'm not here to scare you, but I'm here to try and set up an environment that you're going to need to start to work with and start to learn real quick. If something is said to you from anybody that you don't understand, ask for them to repeat it or say it in a different way that makes more sense to you. I hope this helps, and keep asking the questions, but we really want to make sure you're in a good environment and you're successful, so then your baby who's in the NICU can have a successful transition, hopefully to go from a hospital setting to a home. Thanks.